Magandang araw muli sa inyong lahat. Welcome sa ating channel, Sir Lopez Vlog. Sa araw na ito, magkakaroon muli tayo ng self-evaluation dito sa subject na Question Document Examination. Okay? 25 katanungan ang ating inihanda para sukatin ang inyong mga academic preparations pagdating sa subject na ito. Okay? So, ang mga kasagutan, makikita natin later on dito sa ating description box. So, right, kung nakanda na tayo, i-start na natin sa question number 1. Blank, where the pen comes off the paper but has not stopped and shows continuity of motion are as rule indications of unconsciousness of the details of the operation and point toward genuineness. A. Initial stroke. B. Backstroke. Letter C, intermediate stroke, or letter D, forward stroke. Another question. Abbreviated, distorted, and illegible forms which are sufficiently free and rapid often actually indicate genuineness rather than forgery, even though they are very unusual and not exactly those that in the standard writings. A, true. B, false. Question number 2. Initial stroke are where the pen comes off the paper but has not stopped and shows continuity of motion are, as a rule, indications of unconsciousness of the details of the operation and point towards genuineness. A, true. B, false. Number 3. What is the third step in the investigation of anonymous letter? A, the study of the contents or messages in the letter. Letter B, careful listing of all probable and possible writers. Letter C, the comparison of the writings of the various suspected writers with the anonymous letter, or letter D, none of them, or none of those I made mention. Number 4. Abbreviated, distorted, and illegible forms which are sufficiently free and rapid often actually indicate genuineness rather than forgery, even though they are very unusual and not exactly like those in the standards writing. A, true. B, false. Number 5. Divergence in form indicates blank. So what is the missing word? A, forgery. B, falsification. C, alteration. Or letter D, natural handwriting. Number 6. Methods used in illustrating trace forgeries except letter A, actual measurement of the signatures to illustrate identity. Letter B, superimposition of the signatures by transmitted light. Letter C, taking photographs of the signatures and producing transparencies as to easily superimpose one over the other, or letter D, none. Number 7. What is the first step in the investigation of anonymous letter? A, study the contents or messages in the letter. Letter B, careful listing of all probable and possible writers. Letter C, the comparison of the writings of the various suspected writers with the anonymous letter, or letter D, none. Question number 8. Natural writing becomes so nearly automatic that it is an almost conscious act. A. True. B. False. Question number 9. Free-flowing movement indicating blank. A. Good handwriting coordination. B. Freedom of writing. C. Speed in writing. Or letter D. Good rhythm. Number 10. Do not conduct an investigation in conference. Each investigator should conduct his own and independent investigation. For this reason alone, documents should not be marked as to indicate previous examiner's view on matters being investigated. A. True. B. False. 11. Blank are changes which usually affect the original meaning of a document, made either at the stage of preparation and are already parts of the document when it is signed, sealed in witness, or fraudulently altered after its execution. A. Alterations. B. Obliteration. C. Intercalation. Or letter D. Substitution. Number 12. A signature actually produced by the cooperation of two hands and two minds will usually show evidence of unnaturalness in the signature itself that is blank. A. Inconsistent with forgery. Letter B. Consistent with forgery. Letter C. Both. Or letter D. None. Number 13. Opposite characteristics of a genuine guided hand signature. A. Smoothness and continuity. B. Skillful shading. C. Good pen control. Or letter D. All of the above. Number 14. Which one is the most common symptoms of forgery? A. Divergence in form. B. Drawn and hesitating quality of stroke or line. C. Both of them. Or letter D. None of them. Number 15. Intermediate stroke where pen comes off the paper has not stopped showing continuity of motion. Letter A. This indicates consciousness of the details of the operation and point toward the crime of forgery. Letter B. This indicates unconsciousness of the details of the operation and point toward genuineness. Letter C. Under condition of weakness due to disease or of age. Or letter D. None of them is correct. Number 16. From the moment that the genuineness of a document is questioned, it should be handled in care for in a manner that will impair in the slightest degree the value as evidence. A. True. B. False. 17. During examination under the microscope, extra care should be observed not to mutilate document. A. True. B. False. 18. What is the second step in the investigation of anonymous letter? A. The study of the contents or messages in the letter. Letter B. Careful listing of all probable and possible writers. Letter C. The comparison of the writings of the various suspected writers with the anonymous letter, or letter D. None. Number 19. Signature produced with a guided hand must blank in writing quality to the usual, normal, healthy writing of the one assisted. A. Not be superior. B. Be superior. Letter C. Accurate. Or letter D. Not be accurate. So what is the missing word in the statement? Number 20. Writing of any kind that indicates that the writer was not thinking about the writing is blank. A. Indication of forgery. B. Evidence of genuineness. 21. The writing of signature is an ordinary act requiring little attention and little care as to the condition of pen he or she will be using when one is asked to write his or her signature without writing experimental signatures. A. True. B. False. 22. This is where the motion of the pen precedes the beginning of the stroke and continues beyond the end to a vanishing point which is found in free natural writing and as a rule an important indication of genuineness. A. Flying starts. B. Flying finishes. C. Both. Or letter D. None. 23. To great majority of writers, the writing of signature is an blank requiring little attention and little care as to the condition of pen he or she will be using when one is asked to write his or her signature without writing experimental signatures. A. Extraordinary act. B. Ordinary act. Letter C. Habit. Or letter D. Vice. 24. Characteristics of a genuine guided hand signature. A. Very uneven alignment. B. Inconsistent spacing and certain abrupt changes in direction. Letter C. Entirely disconnected and unnecessary strokes and a general decrepitude. Or letter D. All of them. Ayan, so natapos na natin ang ating self-evaluation sa araw nito. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikibahagi. Okay, so sana ay makakuha tayo ng mataas na puntos. I-check na natin ang ating mga kasagutan gamit ang key to correction na makikita dito sa ating description box. Alright, so hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat. See you again next meeting.